Greetings, Star Warriors. Welcome to the Outer Rim. You know, before I watched The Last Jedi in December, I never in my wildest dreams thought I would have a YouTube channel dedicated to ripping Star Wars canon to shreds. The reason I never thought that was not because I didn't think that Star Wars canon could go in a bad direction. I was fully aware that that was possible. I was afraid that that would happen. There are certain degrees of bad, though. I'm not very tolerant of any degree of bad, but there's only a certain degree of bad that once you've gone beyond that degree, I am going to fight back against. I'm not really an outgoing person. I'm not a charismatic person. I've always been a fairly quiet, reserved person. But coming out of that movie, I felt attacked, quite literally, for I guess, being too old, maybe. I think that's what that movie was trying to tell me. I'm too old to be watching this film. I'm too old to be a fan of Star Wars. Too old, too male, and too interested in quality cinema. And I just find that incredibly, I don't have words for it, but it's incredibly something. So, I am going to pay attention to words in this video. Specific words. Well, a specific word in general. The word is coward. And I have visited Merriam-Webster to see what Merriam-Webster has to say about this word coward. And I'm going to look at a few different definitions that they show. And the first one, under coward, defined for English language learners. Someone who is too afraid to do what is right or expected. Now, of course, I'm applying this word to Luke Skywalker's character in The Last Jedi. Was Luke Skywalker too afraid to do what is right or expected? If he was, we should probably conclude that this movie portrayed him as a coward. He as much as admitted that he was afraid of Rey, and he as much as admitted he was afraid of Ben. He as much as admitted that he was afraid to do what he should have been doing by fixing the problem he caused. I guess I can back up those statements a little bit more. I mean, they all kind of revolve around the same incident, but it just keeps coming back to him over and over again. So first, he's afraid of Ben, so he walks in on him while he's asleep, and I would say he more than just contemplates killing Ben. I mean, he ignites his weapon. That's a conscious effort. He was there. He was ready to do that. The look on his face was freaked out. That's fear. That's cowardice. So, we got one count of Luke being a total coward. A flaming coward. Ben goes off, kills Luke's students, destroys his Jedi temple, joins the dark side and the remnants of the Empire. Totally destroys several planets. You know, he's there behind all of that. And Luke wanders off to nowhere, you know, to die. Someone who is too afraid to do what is right or expected. Someone who is not at all brave or courageous. Luke fits the bill if you ask me. Okay, now we have coward defined for kids. A person who shows shameful fear. Luke leaves his sister, leaves the rest of the galaxy really to fight his battle. In fact, he was going to murder his sister's son. For no reason. None. If there's no shame in that, then there's no shame for anything, ever. So that's two counts, two definitions really that apply to Luke Skywalker. Okay, and now we have a more general definition. One who shows disgraceful fear or timidity. A coward who deserted his troops. He did exactly that. He deserted his troops. He deserted the fight. He deserted the war against the dark side. Disgraceful. Luke Skywalker was a disgrace. And at the end of his life, he still couldn't face his problems in person. Now, I'm pretty much done with the dictionary definitions here, but I just want to go to a Rian Johnson quote, and it's going to be an audio. So we're going to actually hear him make these statements.
That was part of the challenge with the character of Luke, because I felt like I couldn't have him on the island because he's a coward or he's given up. He had to have an active reason he was there. His reason is he genuinely believes the Jedi are a hindrance to the galaxy, and so it actually turns it into this kind of heroic act he's taken on his shoulders of he knows his friends are suffering, and he's making the choice to do the most painful, difficult thing for him, which is take himself out of the fight.
Okay. So what did you think? Now he's trying to sell to everyone. He's trying to sell to the world who has viewed this movie that Luke Skywalker couldn't have gone to... He didn't want Luke Skywalker to go to Acto in cowardice. After all the definitions I read to you, does his explanation make the slightest bit of sense? You can't tell me that walking in on his nephew in his sleep, intent on murdering him... I mean, this isn't self-defense, this is murder. Wasn't cowardice. What kind of man murders someone in their sleep? There are certain instances when something like that is understandable, when one force of arms is facing off against another force of arms and there's an ambush. Maybe that's smart tactics. But this was your nephew, someone who looked up to you as a mentor. He was innocent. He'd done nothing. This is one-on-one. That's nothing but cowardice. And it's not like he went to face his mistake. He ran away. It had nothing to do with the Jedi, making things worse. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. It's total bullshit. How could he possibly make things worse when he's left the galaxy in the hands of people like Snoke and Kylo Ren? I mean, if you go back and listen to that recording of Rian Johnson, the person responding to him is Mark Hamill, and you can just tell Mark Hamill's not buying into this bullshit either. But there's a certain rumor going around, and I don't know how true it is, but apparently there was supposed to be an alternate scene between Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren at the end of the movie. I have an article in front of me that I'm going to read partially. It's not going to take very long. I don't know how credible this article is. It doesn't seem like the person who wrote it did very much research. His source material seems to be a YouTuber, and he does not cite the YouTuber's source material. But the title of the article is Star Wars The Last Jedi, Rumor, the flashy and epic original plan for the Luke-Kylo Ren fight scene. So apparently there was alternate version of the dance between Luke and Kylo. Star Wars The Last Jedi director and writer Rian Johnson had a different vision for the confrontation between Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren. Some fans hoped that they would get a proper lightsaber duel featuring the Jedi Master. They got that. Sort of. I'm not buying into that narrative at all. How did we get that? How was what happened proper? How was it proper at all? You can't fight a hologram, and a hologram can't fight you. So there's nothing proper about that. But let's see what else he has to say. He appeared on Crate to help the Resistance and took on his nephew by force projecting himself all the way from Acto, which took a toll on the legendary hero, causing him to be one with the Force. Now here's another sort of unrelated point I have contentions with. How did he help them? All he did was went outside the rebel base to face the First Order attack as one man. He showed up. He didn't tell them how to get out. He didn't tell them that there was a way out. Somehow, Poe just happened to figure out by osmosis that Luke Skywalker was giving them their chance to escape. Escape in what? Escape where? He didn't say anything. He didn't give them instructions, even though he had every chance to do so. They were trapped in there for all they knew. So all he was going to do is show up, die, and then they were going to die right after him as far as he knew. He didn't know how they were going to get out. He didn't give them a way out. However, according to the popular and ever hard-working Star Wars watcher and YouTuber, Star Wars Theories, the original concept for this pivotal Star Wars The Last Jedi scene had Luke physically on Crate. Ah, so there was supposed to be a real fight. Luke was actually supposed to be there, at least according to this rumor. Which I don't know where this rumor is coming from. The showdown between the two was supposed to be epic, flashy, extremely intense and full of rage. Which is what many fans were hoping to see. I mean, why wouldn't we get that? Well, we're going to find out why we wouldn't get that right here. Luke only had a few seconds of screen time in Star Wars The Force Awakens, which made them all the more excited and hopeful to see him in action and show off his unparalleled force power in a lightsaber duel in the next film. Unfortunately, Johnson believed it would not make sense and ultimately scrapped it because there's no way for Luke to actually get to Crate. Now, we know that is total bullshit. No, it's not all bullshit. Johnson did believe that it wouldn't make sense, but the reason it wouldn't make sense to him is because he was portraying Luke Skywalker the coward, not Luke Skywalker the hero. everyone knows that Luke Skywalker can lift an X-Wing out of the water. We've seen Yoda do it before. Unless Luke Skywalker, as weak as he was in the middle of The Empire Strikes Back at this point in the saga, then clearly he can lift the X-Wing out of the water quite easily. So the only explanation left is that Luke was a coward who failed to meet his problems face to face once again. And then he died without ever facing his problems. That's not a hero. That is a cowardly character. I mean, I'm starting to form a theory that everything about this Jake Skywalker character that disregards everything that George Lucas developed about the Luke Skywalker character, along with other sort of plot holes like weaponizing hyperspace and everything, kind of relegates this new Star Wars sequel into little more than a glorified fan fiction. Don't forget to tell me what you think in the comment section below. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and as always, if you're listening, you are the new rebellion. 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 You are the new rebellion.